Hello, everyone. Deisi Del Toro with No Filter Show. This time I have someone who I really want to talk to because I don't know enough about you. And I think it's important to say that I like to keep it that way until we start talking because I know you as Mike Brodsky.
Yes.
And Mike Brodsky, all I know is just a tiny little portion, maybe half of a 0.005%. So we're going to take the next, hopefully 45 minutes to an hour to discover who you are. I want to start with your childhood. How about we start there? Like when you were 5 years old, where were you? Where did you live?
Well, at the time I was growing up in Connecticut. I grew up in Fairfield and then later moved to Woodbridge. It was always, sort of like a kind of a hardworking kid, smart kind of a kid. And, once I got to high school, found a lot of different interests. I was very interested in theater. Also got involved in my high school's radio station. It didn't actually broadcast out into the community, just on campus, but became like the president station manager of the high school radio station. And but did a lot of theater, intramural sports, and just working hard to try to make sure I'd end up going to a good college and that kind of thing. And ended up at Yale University undergraduate, where I majored in economics and had an opportunity to study with some great professors like David Swenson, who used to manage the Yale Endowment until he passed a few years ago. Robert Schiller, a Nobel Prize winner for economics. While I was at Yale, also continued with theater, did a lot of theater. Was also involved in a lot of other extracurricular activities, I guess, in school, and then went on to get my MBA at Duke University.
You're going too fast. Wait.
Going way. Oh, let's go back.
You skipped through too many generations of what happened. You said Nobel Prize winner. In what?
Oh, okay. So Robert Schiller won a Nobel Prize in economics.
Okay.
So he was one of my finance professors, and so at Yale University, studied, majored in economics, right? And so I had a chance to kind of use that in my later career, and I guess we'll get to that eventually. We'll talk about that.
We're gonna
we'll get there eventually. But I think the key is that I've always had a lot of different interests, and that's why when one of the things we'll be talking about today, I think, is all the different hats that I wear.
That's why I want to discuss. I want to know more. I follow you on social media.
Yes.
I've gotten to be in a few events with you before, and I'm always wondering, what exactly does he do? And you skip through your youth way too fast. I still want to know.
Yes.
The little boy, what was he doing at around 5 years old? Like, what did you do sports-wise? You said extracurricular activities. What?
Right. So as a kid, I was always very interested in sports. Probably more as a fan. Because I kind of recognized early that I wasn't going to be playing professionally in any sports, but that sort of that interest in sports definitely helped me in a number of different ways. In terms of some of the things we'll also be talking about when we get into this, maybe the sports journalism. But I was just always, someone who just enjoyed, learning and studying and being with friends and spending time, out back then. You could sort of, hop on your bike and drive over to a friend's house and that kind of thing. I think that doesn't really happen as much nowadays.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no one's allowed out of the house anymore.
And then when you try to go to a friend's house, what happens is you got to make appointments now. You can't just show up like where I grew up in Mexico. You just show up.
Right.
You don't have to tell them that you're coming.
It's a different world today.
That's right. You show up, and I don't know why, but there was always food. There was always drinks.
Right.
So you never had to, hey, is it okay to come over? Well, actually, there was no cell phones back in the day. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. No cell phones, and yes, no computers, no internet, none of that. But somehow we still managed to connect with others,
with people, and have very good friends. And sports-wise, which one did you say you played?
So I was always very interested in baseball growing up, but also football and maybe kickball back in the day. Played a lot of soccer. I enjoyed basketball. So, I was definitely always interested in just getting out there and playing and having fun. Even though I may not have been the best athlete per se, but I was just very interested in just getting out and having fun.
And having fun.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, and I haven't mentioned this before,
Mhm.
but because I follow you on social media
Yeah.
and you have come out to a few of these sports events, that's why I asked you about sports.
Yes.
I thought to myself, it's got to be strange for me to ask you, for me to interview you, because typically you're the one interviewing everybody.
Well, I guess that's true for people who do check out my social media. If you go to Linktree, linktr.ee/Mike Brodsky, you can see all my social media links. But yes, I've had some amazing opportunities to interview um, a lot of professional athletes, and I think that's probably what you're referring to
That's
right
what I'm
now, right?
referring to.
So the sports journalism is kind of funny because, and I guess maybe I'll jump over to the sports journalism. You want to talk about that a little bit
Let's
now?
do
It's
it.
okay. I don't want to.
This is no filter show.
Okay, so we'll jump over to that.
Let's just jump all over your life and figure out Mike.
So I guess I'll say this because I had actually, and maybe I'll breeze through this briefly, but I had worked in television as a television news producer with the NBC affiliate in West Palm Beach, and that was really right out of school. I talked about college, and I talked about my grad school at Duke University's Fuqua School of Business. And but after business school, I ended up going into television, working as a news producer in West Palm Beach, and then worked with America's Health Network in Orlando. That's what got me up here to Central Florida. And around the time I was getting married, decided to switch over to become a financial advisor. So that's really the day job. And I don't want to bore people too much with my day job as a financial advisor necessarily, but I did have a really interesting opportunity back in 2019. A buddy of mine got me media access for the NFL Pro Bowl when the Pro Bowl came here to Orlando. And that's what sort of got me back into the sports journalism and the media. And my first day back in media, after being out of it for literally decades, I was able to break a story that got picked up by ESPN, TMZ, and Bleacher Report. And then that opened the door for me to be able to cover a lot of these other sporting events like the Super Bowl. I've been on Radio Row for the last 5 Super Bowls, and that's probably where you see a lot of the content. I'm interviewing some of those celebrities and athletes and all of that kind of stuff. And also that's opened, opportunities for me to cover other big sporting events, whether it's certain golf tournaments or the Orlando Magic Media Days or Coke 0400 last year. I was able to do that for the first time. And so that's just been a great way for me to kind of get back into my passion surrounding sports and talking with these other athletes. And
I love it. Every time I look at your social media,
Yeah.
because I'm a big sports fan myself.
Okay, sure.
And growing up, I played sports.
Yep.
So I've always enjoyed going to these things. I support whenever I can.
The soccer,
either soccer,
up,
basketball, whenever I can get into some kind of help. I call it help because I want to. When you support something, you're trying to help, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I see you though, and you're over there interviewing this superstar. You're interviewing this superstar.
Yeah.
And I wonder because remember, when we went out to eat that one time, I said to you, "What do you do? Like, where does the money come from?" Because
well, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's definitely look. My work as a financial advisor is obviously what pays the bills.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's definitely the.
So why you call it boring then?
No, it's not that it's boring. It's if I talk about my work as a financial advisor, I don't know how interesting it's going to be for people to kind of hear about.
Oh,
that kind of thing. But I think the sports journalism stuff, people are maybe a little bit more interested in hearing about. How did you get to ask those questions of Patrick Mahomes at the MVP press conference?
Yeah,
and things like
I'm interested in stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what sort of opens up maybe more interesting conversations. I could sit here and talk about asset allocation and how to invest your money, but I think people will be tuning out.
Well,
and falling
for no
asleep.
filter show, for no filter show, just 2 + 2 is enough.
That's right. That's enough. But that's really what pays the bills. And it's interesting because with TV, when I was working in TV, I mean, it was so much fun. I mean, I could go back and tell maybe more stories, depending how much time we want to spend on that, to talk about my early days in television.
You can. I want to find out.
Sure,
yes,
sure,
I want to know.
So we can go back and talk a little bit about that because it was a lot of fun, and I did have some amazing opportunities in TV. But again, around the time I was getting married, I kind of recognized, as much fun as TV was, for me to get where I was really trying to get in TV, I'd have to be willing to keep moving around the country from market to market.
Ah,
And I knew once I got to Orlando, I thought this is a great community. What a great place to be able to raise a family. And, my wife and I, we had our kids, and how great was it to have like Disney in the backyard and Universal in the backyard, SeaWorld, all of that kind of stuff. It was just a great opportunity for the kids and for my wife and
for
I to
family.
be able to raise the family, right? And to know that I could kind of work in a business that was a little bit more solid and stable as a financial advisor. I mean, it was literally my wife and I had gone on our honeymoon, and this is back in '97, and came back on a Saturday, and by Monday I was starting my job as a financial advisor in Winter Park, Florida. And so here it is, all these years later, it's I love what I do. I mean, it's been great, and that sort of has provided the financial stability to then be able to kind of jump back into the sports journalism and even the acting. And I know we'll segue eventually to the acting too, but to be able to do that kind of stuff and not have to worry so much about the finances of it, right?
Even though you loved it and it was
Yes.
your passion,
Yes.
you chose the stable life for your family.
To a large extent, I really did. Yeah, because I knew
Right.
that was the stable career. That was the stable,
right.
It's stable moneymaker.
Correct.
Certainly it's worked out very nicely. And
That's right, because your kids are grown now.
Our kids are out of college, so our daughter is out in Colorado, our son's in South Carolina, and so they're in the real world now. But it's also kind of freed up some time because as they're growing up,
I can
you
see.
can relate because you've got
I can
certainly you have kids all
relate.
ages of the spectrum anyway. Yeah.
I made them every 5 years, but now I see why that's not the most convenient. That's
right.
Because I'm like, wait, only one is out? Like, so it's going to take 5 years before I get the next one out of here? Like, what is going on?
It's a long-term process, right?
It's a 20-year span.
Exactly.
And
right,
I'm thinking,
youngest,
okay, I should have probably reconsidered but my parents, on the other hand, they did the opposite. They had kids like every year, every 2 years.
Yeah.
So they had 11 kids.
Oh gosh, I didn't know you were one of 11.
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 11.
You're the youngest of 11.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I thought to myself, oh, let me plan my life a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's not better. I gave each kid, 5 years to be a little bit big, and then they go to elementary, and then I made a new one. But it's still like, now that they're a little bit older, I think they would have liked to be closer so they could play more.
Yeah. I think.
How did you do your family planning? Since how many kids? You said daughter and son.
We have
That's
two.
just two.
Yeah, so it was really just the two, and it was interesting because they were 21 months apart, but only one academic year apart. So what was great is after our daughter would kind of go through a grade, we knew we know what to expect for our son because he's going through the same thing just a year later, and and we ended up moving really because of their schooling. They were at Trinity Prep here in Winter Park, a great school. But our daughter, we were living in Windermere at the time, and for 1 year, our daughter was commuting from Windermere all the way up to Winter Park, and that's a long drive.
That is a long.
So the following year, we knew our son would be moving up, obviously, to go to Trinity Prep, and so we moved to Oviedo just to be closer to the school, and so it's worked out very well. We've been there ever since. But yeah, so really it was efficient in the sense that, we spent a lot of time, focusing on their lives and their interests and all the things that they were involved with. And then once they got to college, we did get a little bonus time because of COVID. I think a lot of parents related to that, right?
That's right.
Because our son had gone up as a freshman for his freshman year, and then spring break came around and COVID broke out. And for both our son and our daughter, the schools said, stay at home, don't come back to campus. And they had to,
and they both stayed with you the whole time?
They stayed with us until August.
Oh, that's got to be a nice, I mean, I consider it a nice thing because I also had my kids during that time.
Were a little younger, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, even though a lot of people have a negative thought about COVID, like I have very positive time. Like that's actually when I produced this movie.
That's right. That's right.
During COVID, I started working on this one when there was still COVID.
Yeah.
And it's because I had time.
Right.
Because I was always too busy.
Yeah.
So that break gave me time with my children, gave me time to not be so busy in business, and it gave me a really nice break. So that's why I'm like, it must have been really nice. And this is before they went off to now live in a different state.
Well, that's right. So basically, we did get some extra time that we weren't necessarily expecting. So that was nice. That was nice. And then, of course, fortunately, the schools were able to work out how to get the kids back on campus. And then they went back to school, and they both now have graduated. So, we do make an effort, obviously, to go visit. Like, we're seeing our daughter next month. We'll go visit her for a weekend. And with our son, we went up for his birthday not too long ago. We drove up to South Carolina. So we make an effort, of course, to see them.
I love South Carolina. I was just there a couple of weeks ago.
Where did you go?
Just passing through.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, but I love it. It's like all woods, just a whole bunch of land and beautiful trees everywhere.
Yeah.
I stopped at, is it south of the border?
Yeah, south of the border. That's
leave it to me.
You'd never been there before?
No.
Right. Okay.
And we I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but we ate there, and then we also stopped at Buc-ee's.
Yes.
Oh my God, my kids are obsessed with this Buc-ee's.
That was their first visit to Buc-ee's?
No, my daughters are obsessed with it.
Oh yeah.
But my sons is their first time.
Yeah.
So it was just like a whole bunch of shopping at Buc-ee's. And the kids got all these pajamas, matching pajamas. And it was a mess. I'm just going to say it. It was it's a great idea.
Yes.
Because we all need gas when we're traveling.
Sure.
But as a parent with 4 kids, I'm just saying, can they give us a coupon?
I know. The bills add up because it's like, oh, I got to try this. Oh, I got to try that. I know. It's like you walk out of there. It's like,
by the time you know it,
easy
you
to
got like
shop.
bags and bags and bags of stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, wasn't I just getting gas?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we have some kind of sandwich. Now we have like 6 different meats. I don't know what's going on. And the decorations are so pretty.
It's fascinating because it's this massive place. I mean, if people haven't experienced Buc-ee's, you got to check it out. I mean, it's definitely worth experiencing it if you haven't. But and look, because I remember growing up seeing south of the border because our family would make family trips from Connecticut down to Florida to like Disney or visiting family in South Florida or whatever. And so we would always stop at south of the border because it was sort of halfway. And, that was sort of the Buc-ee's of the day. But back in the 70s or the 80s or whatever, that was what we had. Even at business school, we had our intramural softball team. We used south of the border T-shirts as our team uniform. We called ourselves Pedro's Inbred Mutant Hicks because we were such fans of south of the border. But now, obviously, Buc-ee's is a much better character. I think that everyone can sort of relate to.
And I thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
Because I was like, leave it to them to put a beaver.
Yeah.
Because there's Dick's Sporting Goods, there's Badcock Furniture, and now they have Buc-ee's. Finally, a girl piece. I'm like,
I think you're reading a little bit too much into it, but it's still.
I did look into it because I'm like, what a cute little guy, but he's a weaver.
He definitely is.
Anyway, a beaver, not weaver.
That's right. But Buc-ee's is a whole experience. It's a whole vibe. I mean, it's a different world, and certainly it's the extension really of what south of the border had started. Because every couple of miles, only 112 miles to south of the border, and now it's the same thing with Buc-ee's. They've got, the billboards all along the way as you're getting closer and closer.
All right, now we're gonna move back to why we met.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
So now we're gonna talk movies, film.
Yes.
I know you talked about you were on TV, and I know you do amazing things, interviewing all these wonderful stars in sports.
Yeah.
And I've seen you even recently with some star from golf. So you also do golf.
I've done some golf tournaments, including Bay Hill. They're all Arnold Palmer Invitational.
I should have gone to Bay Hill. Actually, I did go once to Bay Hill, but I think it was a tournament when Tiger Woods still played.
Yeah.
Well, no, is Tiger Woods playing again?
Well, now he's doing here locally. You might catch him maybe at the PNC Father-Son tournament, which will be in December this year. But he's not playing. Well, I shouldn't say that because occasionally he'll pop up on the PGA Tour, and he may or may not make the cut. I mean, the injuries are definitely getting to him, so he's not really playing the way that he used to.
But are the injuries from his wife beating him up? Or no, I'm just asking. I mean, you lived in Windermere. He lived in Windermere. Did you get to experience all of this? No, tell me.
I didn't see the golf club incident. I missed that. But it was certainly everyone talked about it at the time.
Right.
And we used to eat at the Perkins, where I think he knew one of the waitresses. That's a whole other story too.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
So what was he doing at Perkins?
Oh, I don't even want to. I don't want to say anything out of turn
This
here,
is
but
no filter. You can tell us.
Google it. Google
Okay.
Tiger Woods Perkins waitress and see what comes up. That's probably
Oh
the
my
best thing I
goodness.
can say. But what I will say is that there was an injury that really came from a car accident where he
But
almost lost his leg, and that was in the
a
past few
different
years.
one.
Different, unrelated to the wife with the golf
Because
club.
when she beat him up, he crashed too.
Well, that's true too. Yes, he's got a bad habit of maybe not driving well. He needs some driving lessons, perhaps.
So
not
he
just
can
not just driving the golf club, but driving the car too, I guess. But no,
Mm.
there was a horrible car accident where he almost lost his leg. Doctors were able to save it, but as a result, I think he's really had a lot of. He's had to have a lot of physical therapy to be able to kind of learn to walk again, and then obviously just playing golf again. He deals with a lot of pain. So I think one of the reasons he's been doing the PNC Father Son tournament is he's allowed at least to ride a golf cart in that. If he's playing in a PGA tournament, no golf carts, you gotta walk the whole 18 holes, and it's a little trickier for him because he's been damaged and he's got a lot of metal and screws and all kinds of things keeping him together, and it's just not so easy at this age.
Okay,
and with all
well,
those
I thought I
injuries.
asked about him because you're
Yeah.
like, I lived in Windermere,
Sure.
he lived in Windermere.
Yes.
Maybe you saw the whole thing happening. I
I
had to ask.
I just like everybody else, we saw it on the media. The media certainly portrayed it for everybody.
You never know. You
No,
could have been
yes.
driving by and you're like, Tiger Woods, what happened?
Right. Nothing like that.
Okay,
Nothing
so
like
you
that.
don't have a video of you interviewing him.
That would be cool. That would be great. But
or the wife, hey, why'd you beat him up with his own with which number did you pick to beat him up with?
That's right. What club?
What club?
Seven iron? Is that what it was? I don't even know. Yeah. But no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I haven't done that.
Oh, sorry,
But,
that made me laugh because when I saw that story,
Yeah.
I was just like, man, that's messed up. Use your own club, which made all the money that she's taking from you.
Yeah.
All that money she's taking from you, she's about to kill you with the very same tool.
But
that's messed up. It's like getting an award and then killing the person that helped you get it. Like,
One of
right?
these
What if
awards
I
back
grab
here,
it
we'll
and you're
talk
like,
about that in a minute. Yeah, exactly. Well,
and then attack you? Why'd you help me get it?
But the incident really came as a result of, I believe, his involvement with that Perkins waitress. I think it was sort of the affair that was going on, just to sort of tie it all back together. But
okay,
anyway,
we'll go back to you. We'll go back to
we
you.
don't want to talk
So
about
then,
Tiger's
I know this is
challenges
not
here.
Tiger Woods episode. We get sidetracked, okay, but that's okay.
Sure.
So with your all of these past experiences, then your kids moved out, then you finally went into acting. Is that when you went back into acting, or you've always been doing?
I'll go back further because growing up, I was always very interested in acting. Did a lot throughout school, through high school, through college at Yale. I did a lot of theater, and even when I was in high school, from the age of 14 to 17, I went to a place called Stage Door Manor, Performing Arts Training Center. That was really my theater camp. And if you Google Stage Door Manor, you'll kind of see there are a lot of famous alumni that have gone through Stage Door Manor's training. And it's gotten even kind of more prestigious and more in demand since then. But so I learned a lot about theater from Stage Door Manor. And when I got to business school at Duke University's Fuqua School of Business, and I'll mention Fuqua for a reason, because when I was there, I originally wanted to join a television show. Duke University had a cable television network called Cable 13. And I wanted to join the TV show called Fuqua Looks at Business. And I signed up, and months are going by, and I never heard anything. And I said, like, what's going on with Fuqua Looks at Business? And the folks that were in charge of it basically said, we talk about business all day long in school. The last thing we want to do is do a TV show about business, right? So they said, listen, Mike, if you want the show, you can have it. You can take it over. So I did, but as I was kind of getting ready to work on it, I realized nobody wanted to work with me on this thing. So I figured, look, what can we do that people would actually want to get involved with? So I ended up starting up a sketch comedy show, which is called Fuquavision, and this is back in 1991. And we kind of put together the first episode, and I would start to show it on Cable 13. And the funny thing was, I think some people had actually noticed it, and even I was at Cable 13 Studios, and Grant Hill and Kenny Blakeney happened to be down there taping a show for someone else, Seth Davis, actually, who was running a basketball-related show on Cable 13. And I was talking with Grant and Kenny about Fuquavision. I'm like, oh, we love Fuquavision. Oh, and like the whole team, the whole Duke basketball team would watch Fuquavision. So I said, would you guys be willing to do a promo? And they did. And so that was part of the first episode. And people were kind of like out of their minds, like, wow, these guys are actually watching the show. And then sure enough, the next year we did more episodes, and Grant even came back and did another promo for us, and even in later years kind of did more. But long story short, that show was so much fun. I mean, and so it gave me an opportunity to kind of do some acting, but also get involved in television a little bit. And that show is still going.
I mean, I want to compliment you on your acting skills.
Oh, thank you.
I'd never worked with you before.
Right.
And for the second movie that I produced, which is Melt on This Music, which is premiering very soon.
Yeah, we'll
October
talk about that.
18th.
Yeah, sure.
Yep, October 18th, we're doing a live show with Monsters in the Morning. Of course, they're going to interview you. You're coming out. I know he already has his tickets with his wife, so I know.
Yes, you were coming. We'll be there.
Yeah. And it's a red carpet event. We're going to have a lot of fun. I think the cool thing was that I accidentally picked you as the character, because we had, I don't know how many submissions for that role. It was so crazy. It seemed like everybody wanted that role.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I picked you, but then I thought, oh, I really want a woman to have that role, because I'm a female boss and I really wanted a female boss.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, you know what? Why don't I have them both?
Yeah.
And then it was like a perfect match, because you guys made a character out of the whole situation.
Right.
You guys were great. It's very entertaining. I didn't know you were such a great actor. I would have used you in a bigger role. Like maybe you would have been my husband. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. Would your husband let you make out with me though? I don't know.
My wife, you mean?
Yeah, your real wife.
I don't know about that. It's a good question. But see, who knows? It worked out as it was. No, Angie was great to work with. I mean, the fact that because I thought it was interesting. It's like, oh, that's kind of an interesting choice, because I think it allowed for more comedy, right, for the two of us to be able to play off of each other. And it definitely added a little bit more to the movie.
Yes.
So having me and Angie sort of as co-managers of this hotel, I guess is the best way to describe it. It created a totally different dynamic. So
because she kept trying to push you around, but then you're pushing her around, and then it's like you guys are competing, and it just turned out great. I thought, okay, so I accidentally made the decision, because I thought, oh man, I don't know if this is the right decision, but I went with my gut feeling, and I'm just really happy I did that, because it turned out perfect. I couldn't have written it better myself. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been nice.
I mean, you say accidentally. The reality is there are no accidents. I think it obviously worked out. The universe was kind of watching out for you, and you kind of pointed
That's
you
true.
in the right
That's true,
direction,
because
right?
I mean, I'm telling you now, like, we went through so many submissions, but the problem was, like, for the date that I picked, you remember it was like all day.
Oh yeah.
Most people were gonna have to end night.
Yeah.
So people wanted to fly in from California, fly in from New York, fly. Right. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna pay for these people's flights to come here, or they have to pay for it. Then they have to stay in the hotel.
Yes.
Then they have to like work all night.
Right.
So that means 2 days. And I thought, why inconvenience people from everywhere else when we have talent right here?
I'll go with the financially viable option. Mike is cheaper. He's here local.
I can cut his pay, and he's like, give it to future dreamers and achievers. So
that's true. I did donate it to one of the charities that I've been involved with.
Which I thought was so sweet.
Yeah.
That's why I supported that after that. I thought it was really cool.
We got you hooked in. Yeah, we reeled you in.
You reeled me in there by donating your money towards that. And I thought that is so cool, because I'm big time into supporting the arts.
Yeah.
That's why I do what I do. And I thought it was a really nice touch of you. Not one to just like do an amazing job on set, even though, I didn't pay you that much, but you still did a A-rated actor job, and you still did everything that you were asked plus more.
Yeah.
And then you took that money and you're like, oh, let's donate it.
Yeah.
I thought that is so sweet.
Well, listen, I think, there are certain things that I do because I love to do them. Like the acting definitely falls into that category. And quite honestly, the sports journalism stuff that I'm doing, it's because I love doing it. Like to be able to do that kind of thing is what a great opportunity for me to just be able to do it. It's really a blessing. And so, with the acting, the fact that I've been doing it for so long, and, even just to see, like I mentioned, I was talking about the Fuquavision, the sketch comedy show I mentioned earlier. That show, by the way, is still on the air 33 years later. It's still going.
What?
So, yeah. I mean,
I hope you send some clips of that so we can show people.
I did. I shared them with Mario.
Perfect.
So put it in post, right?
Yeah, there you go, Mario. Because I like, when we're talking about stuff, I like for people to be able to witness what we're talking about.
Well, and on my link tree, if you go to that link tree, linktr.ee/Mike Brodsky, you can also see Fuquavision, the early years, if you want to see some of the older stuff. And if you just search for Fuquavision, I mean, there's a ton of clips from the 30 plus years that it's been on the air. And it's just been so much fun. It's given me opportunities to do things on screen with like Leah Thompson from Back to the Future, because we did a sketch years ago called Back to Fuqua, right? Like Back to the Future. And then we did a sequel 25 years later. We got the entire cast back together and we did a sequel to it. And Leah Thompson agreed to do a little cameo for that, which was amazing. That was so nice of her. And, I did a thing with like Larry Thomas, who played the soup Nazi on Seinfeld, and that was kind of fun. And just we've had, Coach K, Duke's famous basketball coach, did a couple of things for us a couple of different times. And we did another thing with like Christian Laettner and Grant Hill. I mean, it's opened up so many opportunities. The funny thing is I'm actually going back to the school at the end of September for Florida Citrus Sports, one of the other organizations I'm involved with here. We do the Pop-Tarts Bowl and the Citrus Bowl, Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. And I'm scouting the Duke UNC game, the football game, at the end of September. And while I'm up there, I'm going to reconnect with the current presidents, or prezzies as we call them, of Fuquavision, and get a chance. They like to kind of ask questions about the history of the show and how it all started and all of that. So it's always fun to kind of go back and connect.
I love that.
What's happening.
Now we're going to talk more about film and
Let's
TV.
talk about acting. Yes.
Yeah. So
let's do that.
That's my experience working with you. So
Yes.
I already closed on that. Now I know you have, and you love to volunteer doing other projects.
Yes.
And you also are acting in a couple of short films coming up for OIF.
Yes. So OIF Orlando, which is the Organization of Independent Filmmakers here in Orlando, September 14th is their big festival that's coming up. And I'll be in 2 of those short films. One of them is called Flashlight, which is in the comedy block. And then another one is called The Fear, which is in the horror block. And so check out OIF Orlando if you want to get a chance to see. I think there's probably like 44 short films that are happening that whole day, and then there'll be awards and a big.
One of my friends, Bjorn, is the face of it.
Oh yes,
he acts in the first movie.
Okay.
And I said, well, how come you have your shirt on? Because I really like him with no shirt on. Like, I told him, like, why do you work out so much if you're going to keep your shirt on?
Was he wearing a shirt in the poster? I think he might have been topless, wasn't he? For the OIF poster?
Maybe I need to look at it again.
I'm trying to remember now.
I think I saw Bjorn posted, and he was like, hey, I'm the face of OIF Challenge, or whatever the title is. Yeah. And I said, come on, man. I don't remember if he has a shirt. We'll investigate, and we'll put it on there if he's topless or not topless, because I love looking at men with no tops. Anyway, so the
OIF anyway, the process. Yeah. So either way, we'll put the poster up. Yeah.
That's right. So that's coming up for you on September the 17th.
14th.
Right.
Okay. Saturday, like noon until, I think the awards start about 6:40, so probably go to like 8:30, something like that.
It's so they do it on all they're going to do it all day. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, we are doing a Follywood Film Festival, which the award is right here for that. And that's coming up. Cool. For us, that's coming up in November. So but our festival is going to be a week long, and our award ceremony will be November the 6th. So of course, you are going the 6th. We changed it.
Oh, it's 6th.
Oh, I'm about to change.
Gosh, okay.
Because remember, with media, what happens is we booked the Plaza Live, which is in downtown Orlando, and we'll have the information on there. But we booked that to do the award ceremony, and we had to change the date because they did not have available on the date that I wanted.
Okay.
And so the theater is South Chase in Touchstar Cinemas.
Yes.
And that's going to be like the actual festival. But then once it's time to give out the awards, we're doing a whole ceremony. I'm looking for a singing celebrity to bring. Okay. But we haven't decided yet. We have enough room for about 920 people.
Great.
So we need to fill it up.
Oh, yeah.
So, invite all your friends.
Yeah. Oh, I will.
And I know one of your short films that you're acting in is in there.
Yes.
Which,
The Shepherd.
And you want to hear something funny? Because, since I get the kudos of watching whatever I want, I already watched it.
What'd you think? What'd you think of it?
I really like it.
Yeah.
It's great. I think the acting was excellent, and I like it. I mean, obviously, I'm not the judge, so I'm not going to be judging to give the awards, but we have a team that's going to be judging and everything else. But I still got interested because obviously I want to make sure that the movies that we put out for the festival are up to standard, high quality, the best.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I love it. I thought
Yeah.
it was great. So thank you for helping connect us and let people know to submit.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I like projects like that. You know, I like projects where it touches on issues. Like I even on this show I talk about culture because
Yep.
religion, culture is such an important part of the human nature.
Yes.
And in that one they touch on family and religion.
Yes.
And I thought it was
Yes.
really cool. So for you, religion wise, what
Yeah.
religion are you? Do you practice anything?
I'm Jewish. I don't know that I necessarily practice much.
Jewish,
I
okay.
mean, I will say that my great grandfather circumcised Senator Joe Lieberman, for what that's worth. So it's something. But
Well,
little
that's
fun
important
fact,
information.
little fun fact, yes. But no, so you know, it was important, I think, for my wife and I to kind of raise our kids as Jewish and have the bar mitzvah, the bat mitzvah, that kind of thing. So you know, not that we necessarily practice. It's not like we're at synagogue all the time or following all the traditions necessarily, but it's still a part of who we are, definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
I like the Jewish religion because they are almost as good as me at pinching a penny.
You gotta be careful how you say that, Daisy. But okay,
Wait
I
a
think I know.
minute. Do
Yeah.
you know how I mean it?
Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, I know.
It's okay.
Oh yeah. I
You
know.
know, I know
what
a
you
lot
mean.
of Jews.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
just so you know, like I've
Oh,
worked
boy.
with them before.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and trust me, like I
Yes.
learned a lot from them. I know you're
Yeah.
saying like the financial things are like difficult or boring to talk about because
Yes.
a lot of people are not
Right.
interested, but for me, it's like the greatest things I learned about financial stability and finances was from Jews because they will teach you
Yes.
if you have this penny, this is how you split it.
Well, we want to be careful about perpetuating negative stereotypes, but definitely, yes, I understand what you're saying.
That's a positive.
They tend to be
It's a positive stereotype.
business oriented. Yeah, maybe. Okay.
I think it's
No,
positive.
listen. I certainly think of myself as business oriented and financially savvy. Yeah. So
I think
it is
it's
what
very
it is.
positive.
Yeah.
You can say that it's a negative. Some people think it's a negative thing because
Mhm.
they like to be extravagant about every single thing that they do, and I
Yeah.
like to be extravagant as well, but not
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I loved learning how to be more careful with the money.
That's important. I mean, that's an important lesson for anybody. I think everybody needs to learn. Look, as a financial advisor, I'm certainly here to try to preach the gospel and get the word out about being wise with money and what you do with it and how to invest it and that sort of thing, right?
right.
So, which I don't know if you want to.
Oh, yeah,
my
that's a perfect
point.
segue. I know, I saw it too.
I
was like, wait a minute.
There you go.
So this is
Yes.
the one. I like that.
Yeah.
Mike Brodsky, you wrote your own book,
Yes.
Change Your Life One Small Step at a Time.
Incremental improvements, change your life one small step at a time. So there's definitely, oh, there we go. And you can see it on the screen there. And for anybody that wants to take a look at this book, by the way, if you go to incrementalimprovements.com, you can actually download the PDF version for free. Paperback version is available on Amazon. I think it's $9.99. The Kindle version is $2.99, I believe. But you can get the PDF version for free if you just go to incrementalimprovements.com, go down to the bottom of the website, and
Stop
you can
telling them for free. Tell them to spend some money on you.
Listen,
spend some money on my friend Mike Brodsky. He worked very hard for this knowledge.
But I would rather have people get the information and get the wisdom that's in the book. You know, it's basically the book came out. It's been out for almost 10 years now, actually. But it was #1 on Amazon's personal transformation list. Oh, that was some stuff don't mind that. I kind of had it in the book.
Well, if you put it in there, I'm going to check it out.
You can check it out. You can check it out if you want. So anyway, but the incremental improvements, there's a lot of information about ways to make improvements in anyone's life in a lot of different areas besides just the money. And what happened was a lot of these stories sort of came out of stories that I was telling to people that would ask me questions about not just money, but I found even as a financial advisor, they're asking me for a lot of life advice just in general. So a lot of the stories sort of came out of that.
I just opened it and it went directly to something I'm working on right now.
And that
One secret to weight loss. It's page 47.
The diet chapter, yeah.
One secret, because you know I'm on a diet right now. I just lost 10 pounds like in 2 weeks, so I'm working on it. Is to change your behavior regarding the places you eat. For instance, probably know that certain restaurants you frequent have menu items which are not healthy. What the?
Shocking.
Is it
What?
Did you see me eating at McDonald's all the time? Like, what are you doing? Are you following me?
Look, obviously, a lot of this is sort of universal information, but I think the bottom line is what it really focuses on is getting people to think. Sometimes people are so eager to see the immediate results, the immediate gratification, and I think getting people to think about taking smaller steps, right, or kind of taking just one little step at a time to get where you're trying to get. So whatever the goal is, if the goal is I want to lose 20 pounds, it doesn't happen overnight, or I want to be a millionaire, or I want to run a marathon, or whatever it is, you can't just, wake up and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, I'm a millionaire. Oh, I just lost 20 pounds. It's like you got to do the work and figure out what it's going to take.
I mean,
take
yeah,
the steps
literally
this.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's it. That's the case in everything, right?
Of course.
But finding the balance with the money, which I like what you did here, because you have like time, you have the little money bag, you have the business thing. Why'd you put little cars as shoes?
That's a good question. I'll have to ask the artist that actually kind of designed the book cover for me. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think he kind of encapsulated a lot of it pretty well. So I didn't really hyperanalyze every bit of it, but I think it looks pretty cool.
But the brain is a clock ticking away. So you need to take your small steps, but make them as fast as possible. No, I'm kidding. Well, it's a joke. They can go. They can go slow if they want to.
That's right. But I think the key is to get everyone to focus on, what one change can I make in my life today that's going to maybe make my own life a little bit better? What one thing am I going to do that's going to make someone else's life a little better? What one thing am I going to do to make the world a little bit better? So, I think getting people to think about actions they can actually take, rather than just kind of wishing and hoping that things get better. That's if you make enough of those changes over time, it can add up to very big end results in the long run, right?
I love it. And then here you give some business management advice, and you said, you might ask, how do I fire a client? I have very simple words.
Yeah. What do you say? I'm curious. I think I know what you say.
You do know. You do know.
Yeah.
Get them out.
That's right.
Very simple. Right. I know, but I don't have a soft spot anymore. I used to. I used to be so sweet, and I used to be like, they call it beating around the bush, right?
Yeah.
There's no beating around the bush anymore. I'm very direct now. Like now I'm like, you gotta go. Bye. Sorry. or I'll just say, I'm changing direction. I can't.
Exactly.
Because even though clients are extremely important, and this is what I learned when I had a service business, even though a client can be extremely important, if they're a-holes and they're constantly just like bothering down your growth and your energy because they complain and complain and nag and do all these things, it's better to let them go and find a better account.
Right.
And I found that once I made that decision in business, my life was so much easier. I started making more money.
Yep.
And I used to think I'll never survive without them, because some accounts were very big.
Yes.
Like some of my clients, they were big accounts. And I thought, oh my God, it's a big decision. It's a big, will I find another client that's as big as this one? And you'll be surprised. As soon as you remove that negative vibe, then a way better vibe moves in. Yes. It's so cool. Anyway, I love it. Okay, so everybody can find this book on Amazon. They need to buy it on Amazon. Okay, don't listen to him about the free one.
Sales are great. But at the same time, for someone who's saying, I don't want to spend money on that book, I'd rather have you download it for free and read it for free. And again, you don't have to even read it cover to cover. You can actually just kind of focus on the areas or the chapters that are of interest to you. Like you read the first 2 chapters to sort of get the basic premise, and then you can kind of jump around if you want to look at the financial chapter or the diet chapter or the health or the business management or, there's a whole bunch of different chapters on different topics in there.
Or the love of his wife. It says, thank you to my wife, Lisa, for helping me to edit and improve this book. Aww, that's romantic. I'm not very romantic, but I found that to be romantic. That's sweet. I like that. Good. Now, this other book, what is this one about?
So this one, Fourth Down, and you can hold that one up as well, but Fourth Down and Damn, a lineman story. The autobiography of Leon Searcy is told by Mike Brodsky. Now, DAM, I should point out, is an acronym that Leon came up with. Diary of an Athlete's Memoirs and Notes is what it stands for. But Fourth Down and Damn is Leon Searcy's autobiography. Now, for those who are football fans, sports fans, maybe you know the name. If you're not familiar with the name Leon Searcy won 3 national championships with the Miami Hurricanes football team. when he was in college. And then, of course, was a first-round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. For those who might know the name Bill Cowher is a Hall of Fame coach. Bill Cowher's first-round draft pick with the Pittsburgh Steelers was Leon Searcy. And it was kind of cool because I did get to interview Bill Cowher just this past February and talk with him about Leon. That was neat. But also, Leon ended up as a free agent with the Jacksonville Jaguars and was recently, not too long ago, named as one of the top 25 Jacksonville Jaguars of all time. In the late 90s, Leon was the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL and somehow managed to retire broke and twice divorced. So one of those kinds of stories. Horrible. Yeah, right? Exactly.
See why I brought up the whole wife thing with Tiger Woods? Sometimes men do not learn that there's certain women just bad for you.
Well, yes.
The right woman, just like you're saying thank you to your wife, who's supportive, obviously.
Right.
A woman who is supportive, who's a family woman, who's like doing their very best for you.
Makes all the difference. Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely.
And then these men, they get tied up with these horrible women, and then they think, oh, it's okay. I have enough money.
Yeah.
It can be gone.
Right, exactly. So I will say that this book kind of fell into my lap during COVID, and I had the opportunity to work with Leon on it. It was just an amazing experience, and I sort of took it on mainly because in July of 2020, one of the other organizations I'm involved with, World Sports Alumni, Charlie Williams, the CEO of World Sports Alumni, came to me and said, listen, we're trying to get Leon's book out there. And they had put him in touch with another author. They kind of dropped the ball, basically. But they said, would you like to work with Leon on this thing? And in July of 2020, if you remember, there was a lot of free time because of COVID. People weren't really getting out and networking and doing much. I think you may have been working on your movie, Melting This Music, perhaps, I think.
Well, during which year?
It was July of 2020.
2020. I was still working on that one.
Oh, the first Melt on?
Yeah, Melt on This.
Okay.
Right. And then I started working on the 2021. I started working on
it was 21.
Melt on This Music.
Right.
But just like you wrote a book.
Yes.
Writing the script for a movie takes a long time also. So especially right now I'm considering the third movie.
Yes.
And they handed me a book to make the movie off of. So we now have to read the book, kind of see where we want to go with it. Then we'll have to create the script and then we have to move forward from there. So it says time to shine. I'm like, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm like, I guess it's time to shine then. My senior year mindset was purpose driven. I like that. This guy was ready to shine right there and then. Yes. And I think a lot of times that's what it takes, like a decision.
Right.
A decision of one person saying, this is it.
Yeah.
Like in business, I am very blessed to have been very successful because I worked hard, I was disciplined, and I always did my best. So when I decided to go into filmmaking, I don't know if you know this, because, when you do it for trying to make a great movie or for profit, it's a business.
Oh, absolutely.
And and you find out very quickly that it may not be the best business move, but I don't regret doing either one of the movies. I think it's wonderful, and it gave me the experience to now be able to work on a much bigger scale third movie. So I think it's going to be great, and you're going to be involved in the third movie. Of
course, absolutely, I'll be in it.
And this time I'll pay you right.
I still donate to one of the nonprofits.
Now that I know that you can act. I mean, I saw your tape and it was very good. There were a lot of really good actors. I mean, other really good actors, but once people get on the set, sometimes they're not as good as their tape.
That's true. I've seen that before.
And so I was very happy to see. Oh, okay, he can act. He can act.
That's right. And get it done.
So I like that. Anything else you want to talk to me about the book?
Listen, I would say for anybody, even if you're not a sports fan, my wife is not necessarily a sports fan, but she loved the story. So if you're a sports fan, you will love it. And besides the book, I will also mention that we did an audiobook version. So for anybody that has Audible, if you go to audible.com and look for Fourth Down and Damn, you will see the Audible version of it. And by the way, it's my voice reading the book. Leon didn't want to read the book. So Leon does the forward. And then he also, besides from me reading the book, we also added an hour's worth of bonus material where Leon tells like a bunch of other stories about his, time on the field and that sort of thing that didn't make the book. So if you're a true sports fan, definitely check out the book or the Audible version. If you want to hear it directly from the horse's mouth from Leon himself, you definitely want to check out the Audible download. And
I think people will love it. I typically, that's how I read books.
Yeah.
I listen to the audible, and then
Right.
from there I decide if I want to purchase the book.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the books, that's how I bought them. Like
Yes.
I don't know. Have you ever read a book called The Matrix?
No.
No, it's very
unrelated to the movie The Matrix.
correct.
Okay. No.
It nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's very actually. I shouldn't say nothing to do with it. It has metaphysics and all this kind of stuff in
Okay.
it, but
Okay.
it's from a spiritual standpoint. So
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Just not for movie making, if you know
Right.
what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
So anyway, that book, when I saw it, I was like, oh, there's no way I'll never like sit through this book, right?
Yeah.
But when I'm driving,
Yes.
I found that Audible is the perfect way to do it. So I love the fact that you have both of your books
Both, yes.
on Audible, because it really, really helps people like me who are busy or driving around a lot.
Yeah.
It helps you to connect with the story and everything else.
Right.
So I want to talk about one last thing with
Sure.
you before we cut it up, because I know, like,
Okay.
we look at that, we're at 50 minutes already.
Wow. It just flew right by.
I know,
Yeah,
see how
I
fast
knew.
it happens?
I knew it would. Yeah.
So we have the festival coming up
Yes.
for Follywood Film Festival,
Right.
and I want to see how I can get you involved somehow. Besides, of course, you being in the one short film
Shepherd,
and everything
yeah.
else, like,
Yeah.
what else do you do? Do you? Because I know you do so many things.
Yes. Yes. Are you talking about like my nonprofit volunteer work and boards of
Like,
directors and things
yeah,
like that?
maybe
Or do you
connect
want
me.
to?
Maybe connect me with some of your other charities or different organizations that have to do with film and TV.
Well, I will say the only one that's sort of connected with entertainment is, as you know, because certainly since we were talking about this earlier, obviously Bob's charity that does the scholarships and that sort of thing.
Future
with
Dreamers and Achievers,
Achievers is one of them. But I'm also on the board of directors for Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida, but I don't know that there's necessarily a performing arts component to that. And also, I do want to thank you, just being a Real Radio employee. I was the chairman of the board of the Mustard Seed and was on that board from 2016 to 2023 until I termed out. And I know I missed the last poker tournament because of I was out of town. But what did you think of that?
Oh, I loved it.
Wasn't it great?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I never played poker before.
Oh, really? How did you do?
Oh, I was the last celebrity standing. I almost
Nicely
won.
done.
But
Wow.
what happened was they kept changing the rules as it went along, because I guess they wanted us to just get out of there because we can't play forever.
The blinds, you're talking about the blinds going up.
Correct.
The race.
And so when they were like, oh, you have to race it double, triple,
Sure,
then they wouldn't allow you to buy chips anymore.
Correct. Yeah, after the midpoint.
Midpoint, they don't allow it.
Right.
And so I was like, and I didn't know because I was winning at first. So like my first two hands, I won everything. Nice. And then after that, I was like being more careful. Yeah. And then I won another one here and there. And then when I wanted to buy chips, they're like, no, you can't buy any
chips. Not up to the midpoint,
So I learned the hard way, but I loved it. That's a great idea for, they raised a bunch of money. I don't know.
Oh, I know.
I think, was it 120,000 or was that the one I was just at yesterday?
I don't think I'd be surprised if the poker tournament raised quite that much, but I will say all the years that we did it, because we did it going back to, it was the Phillips File poker tournament. Jim, did you see Jim Phillips there? Was he? I think he was there.
Jim Phillips.
Because Jim Phillips is retired from Real Radio. But anyway, long story short, the tournament's been around for a long time, and Real Radio has been so supportive of the Mustard Seed. And I would go and play in that tournament every year. And I'm very proud to say that I would every year I would make it past the midpoint without having to buy back in. And also along the way, I knocked out Phil Rollins at one of the tournaments, Josh Pinkman at one of the tournaments, and Bob Fryer at one of the tournaments. So that was my claim to fame, I guess, in the tournament. But
my claim to fame.
Did you knock anyone out in this one or no?
Celebrities?
You were probably the celebrity. You were the celebrity.
I was the celebrity this time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So nobody had knocked me out until they forced me to go all in. Then of course I was knocked out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you force some there comes a point when they just want to get to the last table, and they're like, all right, everybody has to go all in or do whatever. So I'm like,
anyway.
But anyway, I don't even know who took me out, but he did write to me on the social media. And I had fun. I thought it's a great idea and a great way to get money for charity.
Yeah.
Because I go to a lot of charity events.
Right.
I was just at a different one. They got $140,000
at the
Fashion and Hope,
mm-hmm.
Fashion and Hope 2024, and I thought, That's also a great way, but
Yeah.
it's like not as fun for the person going.
Yeah, listen, the poker tournament has always been
That's
great.
fun.
Raises a lot of money for the Mustard Seed, and that's another great organization.
The other one you
yeah.
invited me to, which was the Future Dreamers and Achievers. That one was really fun because it has to do with what I like.
Yes, exactly.
Right, which is entertainment.
Right.
Real radio also has to do with entertainment. That's why I love it too.
Of
and then I fell in love with the whole Monsters in the Morning thing. I went there just to show them tequila, and then somehow
now you're part of that
we like
show.
fell in love, or something happened. I was like, oh my God, these guys are so cool.
Yeah.
And then I've been there like 8 months now.
I know. That's amazing.
Is that crazy?
That's amazing.
I go pretty much every Thursday now, I think. And like, if they have something going on Fridays, I go on Fridays. Right. But anyway, you're going to be there with us.
For Follywood.
Yeah.
I will be there for Follywood.
For the movie.
For
the premiere now.
Of course,
yeah.
I'll be there for the
movie For Follywood, I don't know if they will all come out because they don't come out at night. Remember.
Right. I know. They got to be up in the morning the next day.
That's right. So I don't even know if they'll come out because it's going to be November 6th in the evening.
Right.
So we'll have to see. But I know for sure we're doing advertising with Real Radio and all that kind of stuff. But for that, I want you to do something. Maybe present an award.
I can present. I can do. Yeah, I can get up and speak anywhere.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, we'll do something.
I think that I'm thinking like now in my brain.
That's
I'm like, we got to get Mike Brodsky. Like we got to get it going.
I will help any way that I can, Daisy.
And I know that.
Yeah, of course.
I know that. I mean, you're always supportive. You're always posting about everything that we got going on over here. And even today coming out to support with my little no filter show on YouTube. Yes. I think it's really fun. I like that you came out. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
Definitely, again, check out my social media. That's probably the best way to summarize all of it. If you just go to my link tree is www.linktr.ee/Mike Brodsky, MikeBrodsky, and you can kind of see everything there. I know because we've tried to cover as much as we can, and there's still a lot of stuff that we didn't even touch on yet.
We didn't even touch on your sex life at all. we like totally skipped through your life of sex. I'm sure you're a maniac in bed, and that's why your wife is so happy. But
that's right. Maybe we'll put some more stuff up on the link tree to kind of demonstrate.
That's right.
Demonstrate. Yeah. Well,
listen, ladies.
I'll talk to my wife about that. See if we can get that up there. But But this has been so much fun. I really do appreciate you having me on the show today. And any other questions that you have for me? Any last questions?
Last question. Oh, here, hold the trophy. So
yes.
So that they can see it. That's
right. The Telly Award, right? We got the silver Telly for Melt on This Music. That was exciting to get this.
And I want you to hold it up because I feel like we changed the story there at the end. But with the help of great actors like you, we made the dream work. Now it's going to be on Amazon Prime, and I want everyone to go watch it or come to the red carpet premiere because we're both going to be there.
We will be there. That's Friday, October 18th, right? And so it's going to start at what time?
6 a.m.
6 a.m., right?
Till 11 a.m. And we're going to show the movie twice. So we'll be showing the movie at 9 a.m. and we'll be showing it again at 11:30 a.m. And the same payment that people make, they can go into either times of the movie or both if they want to. Because Monsters in the Morning, they're going to be live in a different theater. So they'll be in one theater. And then the movies will be playing in as many theaters as we need. So 7 or 8, however many we need. Good. So it can be a huge event and people can come out and have fun. We're going to have this full bar, full menu. They have really good hot dogs. But they do have a full menu.
Nothing's better at 7 a.m. than a hot dog, let me tell you. So,
or popcorn with tequila.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty of tequila.
I'll be drinking tequila. Yes, I don't want to pretend like I'm not. I'll be drinking like way early in the morning. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun day. We're gonna have some of the musicians from the movie. They'll be there, and they will be singing. They will be having fun with us. So. Right. And then you'll be interviewed, so you guys can watch a more professional interview with Monsters in the Morning, since Ross Rollins has been doing it for 30 plus years with all the celebrities in the USA and many parts of the world.
Listen, he's the best. I mean, when I first got to Orlando, and I know it was back then, it was Russ and Bo, so I really go way back before it was even the Monsters, and Savannah would be on the show and all of that stuff. Russ and Bo and Dirty Jim. I mean, I know the history of Monsters, so
I love. That's why I think that's why I fell in love, because it's like I've never met someone so amazing like Russ.
Mhm.
I look at him and I'm like, 30 years of you waking up at 3 in the morning every day
Yeah.
and putting all these hours in.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentally can do it. I'd probably go super cuckoo
Listen,
because 5 days a week.
when I was working in TV, that was one of the beauties of television, was having to work crazy hours, crazy shifts, the overnights, the early mornings, all of that. I mean, I covered every imaginable time slot you can imagine, and be willing to work, holidays and weekends. It's tough. It's tough. So
Well, now you know why I invited
Yeah.
Monsters in the Morning, because I'm
Yes,
like,
of
man,
course.
and why I became part of it, because
Right.
I'm like, this is fabulous. Like, if
Yeah.
there's any admiration out of me for work ethic
Oh yeah.
in the entertainment industry,
Yes.
trust me,
Yeah.
I don't see it any other way than these people putting in 5 hours
Yeah.
every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And at those hours, and they keep
Yeah.
everybody laughing. I mean, I
Yeah.
miss turns on the highway when I'm listening to them. It
Right.
makes me laugh so hard. Anyway, this
Yeah.
is not an advertisement for Monsters in the Morning.
That's
It's
right.
about No Filter Show. But I love them too.
Watch No Filter Show and Monsters.
We're
too.
both on
No
YouTube.
Filter Show. That's right. You can see both. Plenty of time to watch both. Yes.
They can see all of us.
That's right. Of course.
It's about
Absolutely.
supporting the entertainment industry, and I love them, and I love
Yes.
that you came out today, and I really
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Well,
Thank
thank
you,
you guys for listening. I love it. Last words. Last words.
Listen, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the No Filter Show. So thank you very much for everything, Daisy. I'm looking forward to all the things that we've got coming up, like the Melt on This Music premiere, the Follywood Film Festival is going to be exciting. And thank you for
And
putting this together, all these things together, really. 'Cause it's
well,
great,
we're
and
gonna
these great
move forward from
opportunities.
here.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can start making higher budget projects
Mhm.
and better movies here in Florida, because
Yeah.
that's what we need. Just like you said, as a family, we love it here.
Mhm.
I love it here. I have
Yes.
my family here,
Yeah.
and I don't want to move to California.
That's
It's like
right.
10 times more
Bring Cal-
expensive over there. It's like,
Who wants to deal with the earthquakes, all that stuff? Forget about it.
yeah,
It's
forget
much
about it.
better here.
Stay in Florida. Let's just make
Hurricanes
Follywood.
are easy. The earthquakes, nobody
No, we
likes
don't want it.
earthquakes.
We don't want
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time.
Thank you.